Welcome to another edition of the Willy Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willy Bragg. Really quick announcement. This is also going to be as much of a quickie as possible. What was I going to say? Schedule-wise, I'm streaming on Thursday. This is probably going to be the new schedule from now on. The new schedule is looking like it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the time being at 8 o'clock, and then probably going to transition that from Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday maybe to 7 o'clock or 7:30. I haven't decided yet. So that's what I'm working at right now. So I just wanted to let you all know. There's a host of reasons why I'm doing this. I'm hoping this is going to work well for you as well as it's going to work out for me. So there is that. What else is I'm going to say? Something else I was going to mention, but I guess I can mention that if it comes to my mind, I can mention that later on. So I hope everybody's doing well, and let's talk about the Young Turks, if we must. And what I have to say about them, they have gone to the dark side. I mean, people are saying they're going MAGA. Maybe. If they haven't gone MAGA, they're certainly going to the Bill Maher direction, where they'll be basically Democrats. They're just going to call out on the demonstrably loud left, if y'all want to call it that. And and the thing about it is that the things that they have accused the Jimmy Dores of, they're turning out to be guilty of, and they're turning out to be more guilty of what they accused Jimmy Dore of being than Jimmy Dore himself. Well, when they accused that of Dave Rubin initially, they turned out to be correct at the end of the day. But what they're doing now, they're headed down that path. Maybe not fully Dave Rubin, but probably in the direction of Bill Maher. That's bad enough. My apologies for having to subject you all to Majority Report, but I will play a little bit of Majority Report, which is adjacent to what they're discussing about on the Young Turks. And here we go. Emma Braggland, being what she is, having to say what she has to say. So give me a moment here.
Fancy communist. Emma, I just want to say thank you for your courage and for taking a stand for a marginalized community, even if it puts you at odds with some of your closest friends. And I'm sorry you had to do it publicly. I hope people can see the rhetoric they've been spewing is harmful. Yeah, I mean, look, it's like I've been very uncomfortable about the whole thing. I think that's kind of reverberated in the way that I've responded on air. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. But
for the record, I'm not a fan of Emma Braggland. In fact, I don't like her. But I'm going to tell you from the get-go, a stop clock gives the right time twice a day. She's kind of correct on her negative critique of the Young Turks these days, especially the way Anna Kasparian is going.
I did obviously just try to engage yesterday on social media. Most of this audience probably just has no idea what this is, this like Twitter drama. But yeah, Jank and I got into a back and forth, and I feel like he kind of took it to a personal place. And I got to be honest, I was hurt by that for sure. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And maybe that comes off as weak or lame, that, people have seen me cry on air. That's just who I am. I can't really change it. But I did want to respond to it because the crux of it just seems like that the language is alienating and it's clumsy and it's unpopular and that will hurt the Democrats electorally. It doesn't seem to have any like evidence behind it because the Democrats have been doing quite well electorally. And yeah, I'm sure if you ask people about the term birthing person, it's really unpopular because it's designed to protect a minority of people. They are minority. So the people that are more drawn to that inclusive language are going to be in the minority. So the fact that the majority are opposed to it doesn't mean that it's right. And I think that popularism and majority-focused politics are kind of short-sighted. I said this earlier in the context of the fact that the squad, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Cori Bush, Bowman, and more all signed. Ayanna Pressley all signed that letter in to Biden to drop the charges against Julian Assange. And Julian Assange may not be a popular guy, but it is the right thing to do for press freedom. And so is standing up for trans people and inclusive language. We should listen to them if they say that it makes them more comfortable.
She's right about that. And Anna Kasparian, who doesn't have any kids, not faulting her for that, does not need to get all touchy about the term birthing person or bonus hole or all that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Ben Shapiro that actually forwarded a tweet which caused the controversy to begin with, because she was having a conversation with Ben Shapiro. Now, I don't have a problem with Anna Kasparian having a conversation with Ben Shapiro or anybody she wants. She can have a conversation whoever the hell she wants. My problem with Anna Kasparian and her conversations is that apparently she can have a conversation with whomever she wants. But if Jimmy Dore or if Glenn Greenwald or somebody else that's on the left that she does not like and have a beef with, have a conversation that doesn't with people that she doesn't like, she gets all horrified. And sure, I don't like Tucker Carlson. I don't like these people. Okay, I don't like Matt Walsh. And Jimmy Dore talks to them. Sure. But Anna Kasparian talks to Ben Shapiro. She was even talking to Glenn Beck. And so, and think about it, you can talk to whomever the hell you want. And Anna Kasparian also needs to if she's going to go and be all woke ass on everybody, then she needs to practice what she preaches and not get all touchy about the term birthing person. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, Emma Vigeland, who I think is just a horrible person, is correct on her assessment here. Broadly.
And so, yeah, popularism is very limiting because the Republican Party doesn't care about popularism. Abortion rights are super popular. Gun control, super popular.
They spent half a century mounting a judicial, legislative, political, and financial campaign to enact a change at the Supreme Court that is one of the most unpopular and politically devastating things that they've ever done to themselves.
But it was power, and that's how
simply exerting power.
Yeah,
realpolitik.
That's the grown-ups' view of politics. And I also think that popularism focuses too much on electoralism, which, when you're really building coalitions, that's a true power base, and that's how you have sustained power, and that includes taking the right positions, even if they aren't currently popular, because you're protecting a minority in this country.
Okay, that's enough for her. But she's essentially right. She is essentially right, and the Young Turks' new direction, for example, is wrong. Now, I don't particularly like the Majority Report anymore. They lost their luster with people like Jamie Peck leaving and replacing her with Emma Vigeland. I didn't like the way they treated Jamie Peck, but that's I was going to say that's neither here nor there, but it is. It is, and it was great seeing her. Jamie Peck burn a new asshole into Chris Cuomo recently. So, the thing about it is that the Young Turks are going through an identity crisis, and for all my faults with the Majority Report, and I got their opposition or to free speech, their passive support for cancel culture and censorship, according to the Majority Report, where at least during the period before their newfound fascination with MAGA, when they were still on the left, Young Turks were at least always decent on free speech expressions, seemingly, whereas the Majority Report weren't. What's happening to the Young Turks, I'm not liking these days. I'm not liking so much that is actually making the Majority Report better than the Young Turks, and that's saying a lot. So, let's go over here and we'll get started with this.
10 years, the two podcasts I listen to every morning were TYT and MR. I don't want to start shit between your programs, but Anna repeatedly downplays Project 2025, stating that all the fear-mongering during his first administration didn't come to pass, not understanding that administration's competence as well as those in his... All right, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you mentioned, now she's against calling Trump a fascist. I did see this. So, look...
I just thought that was bait, though. Like, no offense. I'll let you get into it. But, like, I saw that tweet yesterday, and I was like, is this not just, like, bait? It's not engagement bait.
A trial period?
Like,
this was obviously prior to the election. Just want to let you know. It fits into what we want to be discussing here.
Just, like, wrong. Like, every point in it was like, incorrect. About fascism, about, like, Trump. Yeah. So, like, it was just some words.
Well, I guess we'll comment on it just because, like, look, I'm just couching this by saying that, it's not a personal attack. This is one about substance, right? And, Anna in the past has been supportive and a good friend to me. So I feel compelled to say it's not personal, but I do feel like this is dangerous, what I saw yesterday. To downplay Trump's threat to this country right now in this moment, for me, this is not an unaligned or an independent opinion. To me, this is to the right of Nikki Haley voters. I saw this on Twitter, Anna Kasparian here basically reacting to, this wasn't JD Vance's comments. This was basically a conversation about fascism. I didn't have the full context.
Earlier, they were listening to Mika Brzezinski on The View, who got emotional talking about Trump's threat as a fascist presence in the U.S. and what might happen if he becomes elected.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's where this stemmed from, where they started to talk about fascism.
All right, here we go.
Trump is deeply racist and he says deeply racist things. Okay, I want to make a distinction between Donald Trump, the person who says and does racist things, and the notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors.
This is before Shank got on board right here. Anna was already on that grift train. Now, do I think that Trump is a neo-Nazi? Is he a national socialist? No. Is he a fascist? Let's say in the tradition of Mussolini, he might be closer to a Mussolini. He might be closer to Pinochet type, but probably not even in that area. Is Trump an authoritarian? You bet your beetle boots he is. I I don't know why they're going to argue about whether why can't they just argue that he's an authoritarian? He is an authoritarian. Now, there are people in his movement that they're far worse. And unfortunately, he's gone out his way to bring them out. Look at the Defense Secretary, Peter Hegseth, the man that was a pro-Iraq war activist. And when you got neocons and you got people who are combining that with like ultra right-wing nationalism, it could end up being something worse than just neoconservatism. It can end up being old-fashioned style imperialism, like wanting to acquire Greenland, wanting to acquire Canada, wanting to acquire Mexico, wanting to acquire the Panama Canal, and Cuba and the Dominican Republic. This is what I'm hearing, wanting to rename the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. And so help me, they rename it Gulf of America, I will always refer to it as the Gulf of Mexico. You motherfuckers. Anyway, let's listen to what Shank and Anna got to say. We must.
The Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But was he able to do those things?
First of all, his entire cabinet had to threaten, not cabinet, administration, his White House team had to say, we're all going to mass resign if you roll out tanks against American citizens.
Okay, so if you think he's a fascist, wouldn't that justify taking physical action against him?
No, because that doesn't help. That devolves us further into fascism.
Whoa, what a straw man. Exactly. Can you pause it, actually?
There's a difference between somebody.
I guess I didn't see that part, but
if he's a fascist.
Okay, the thing about it is, he does have authoritarian tendencies. I don't care how you slice it and dice it. Trump has authoritarian tendencies. He brags about it all the time. Biden did too. He kind of stumbled his way into it. Kamala Harris also has authoritarian tendencies. Your Mitt Romney Republicans have authoritarian tendencies. This sort of shit's been going on since 2001. It's been on the fascism prior to 2001 was at 55 miles an hour. We're talking about from Reagan all the way up to Bill Clinton's presidency. Starting from George W. Bush to the present, it went from 55 miles an hour to 300 miles an hour. But somehow we're also the frog in the water where it's gotten where you're just turning it a notch and a notch and a notch, getting warmer and warmer and warmer before you realize you're getting boiled to death. Somehow it's that at the same time. Patriot Act, the Department of Homeland Security doing what they're doing, and just things of that nature, and even with things overreach with things like with the Trump presidency, he even tried invoking the Insurrection Act, and and I think that's and under Biden, they try to go and do this, what was it called? The Disinformation Governance Board. And you know what? The only reason you're not going to see a Disinformation Governance Board happen under a Trump presidency, and I'm going to tell you, any of you liberals out there, and I'm talking about people on the chat line, I'm talking about my lefties in the chat line, I'm just saying this in general. Any of the liberals that were cheering Nina Yankowicz's Disinformation Governance Board, I bet you're probably glad, if you think about it, that it did not take place. Because imagine that Disinformation Governance Board now under Trump. Yeah, it would be worse under Trump. Thank God there's not a Disinformation Governance Board under Donald Trump. So, thankfully, and he wouldn't get rid of it. You know he wouldn't get rid of it. When the Republicans were getting angry about it from Biden, they were right for the wrong reasons. They were angry about it because they were narrative humpers. But they would have thought it was a bold, great new idea. It would have happened under Trump. But the only thing about it is, the whole fascism thing is bipartisan, is what I'm trying to say. And that's something I don't think that Shanken and Anna quite get. We'll continue with the flip-flopping and all of this sort of thing. Right here. This is where we get to the meat and potatoes of it all.
Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. Did you see what Jake Uger tweeted out?
Oh, I bet it was something interesting and thought-provoking.
I've been trying to
Jimmy.
I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election, even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now, MAGA is not my mortal enemy. And neither is my mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated.
Wow. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Hold on.
He's now MAGA.
I told you that.
That's what I've been saying. I've been saying that since 2016. MAGA is not my enemy. They're my neighbor.
He's not being funded anymore. So Katzenberg, whoever was giving him money, money you don't think that's what it is?
They invested.
He says what he's funded to say. Now he's going to say whatever he thinks will get him some money.
So
right?
I tweeted out, this unbelievably piece of shit ruined his show by relentlessly lying to his audience about Russiagate and accusing Trump of working for Putin and slandering everyone, including Julian Assange and me, over it. Now that his audience sees through him and he looks like a demented propagandist that he is, he's now trying to sound like me to gain some sort of credibility he lost long ago. He was foaming at the mouth in his enthusiasm for the Ukraine war, the Syrian war, and slandered anti-war journalists in the process. Cenk is a phony and a willing propagandist who is a cancer on the political discourse in America.
Well, to be fair, the political discourse is mostly cancer, so you can't really...
it is mostly.
You're kind of an anomaly that you're saying things that you actually think whether or not it will... You know, a grifter changes their position to get more money. They don't change... Like...
That's exactly what he's doing.
I've never seen you do that ever.
No, I've never done that. No, I lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about Bernie Sanders. They didn't want to hear it.
Positions, but not for money. I don't give a shit how anybody feels.
They didn't. Let me finish. I lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about AOC. They did not want to hear it. I've lost lots of viewers when I told the truth about COVID. When I told the truth about the Ukraine war, I lost lots of viewers. It doesn't matter that I do this show. It takes a lot of energy, emotional energy, to do this show. I don't have the energy like Cenk Uygur. He has vast reserves of energy that he stuffs in his jowls.
Yeah.
To do that kind of thing where he can just lie for money.
Like a camel's hump. He stores that stress right in his jowls.
That's right. Remember when he did, and his whole audience saw through when he lied about force the vote. His whole thing was, we got to challenge the establishment and force that. And then when it came time that we could do that, he sided with the establishment and protected politicians lying about healthcare activists. And everybody saw through him and Ryan Grimm. They all did it. David Sirota. They all did it. And we all saw through it.
Sirota was making a movie. You got to cut it.
That's right.
He was making that great movie with Leo.
Yeah. They all did it. They all did it. And now after the election, after I'm guessing he lost his funding from Katzenberg, I guess he's not getting money anymore.
That's all I could think of. Why else would he flip like that? Because he already knew. Anna's a dingbat, but he knew.
I think he hit the nail on the head about that Katzenberg money. That Katzenberg money in 2016, Jeffrey Katzenberg money that was given to the Young Turks, was given to the Young Turks to cripple them. It was money, in my opinion, it was money to basically neutered their message. Because prior to 2016, you couldn't tell me anything wrong about the Young Turks. I mean, I would just about fight somebody over the Young Turks now prior to 2016. I mean, I used to religiously watch the Young Turks. I thought they could do no wrong. I pretty much thought everybody connected with the Young Turks. I mean, I thought this is what we needed right here. I mean, it was a breath of fresh air when I stumbled across it in 2008. And I've been watching the Young Turks pretty much until around the time of Forced to Vote started to sour my opinion of Young Turks. And then the attacks on Aaron Matei and Jimmy Dore, and hell, even their attacks against Kyle Kalinske just led me to not like the Young Turks anymore. And they just been their message has been getting waterier and more Democratic Party adjacent, to the point where they sound like basically like a more happening Pod Save America. Which, if anybody's ever watched Pod Save America, that's insufferable to watch. I mean, watching paint dry is more exciting and more fulfilling in my life than to watch Pod Save America. But suffice to say, that's where it came from. It was part of the and that's right, Max. Jimmy Dore used to be part of the Young Turks network. Till 2019, I think it was that he parted ways. So, and Chuck Intergalactic UFO Show, you're right. Shank is the establishment now. I mean, your establishment when Chris Cuomo was working at CNN, and he would have Shank and Anna on occasion. When the Young Turks. But even as late as 2020. The Young Turks were considered damaged goods at the Democratic convention, that they were not allowed to have press credentials. So I mean, this is something that was not, their message wasn't like watery, like 100% overnight. It was a progression, or shall I say a regression. And that regression, unfortunately, took place and just kept on happening and happening and happening. And, I will peek at the Young Turks occasionally. I just it's just something that I just can't deal with it, So anyway, we'll let Jimmy Dore continue.
So I'm going to send you this tweet, and I want you to put it up over. When you edit this together, put this tweet in there so we can make a thing out of it, a clip out of this.
I feel racist just saying that guy's name, by the way. Cenk Uygur.
I mean, that's truly remarkable. That guy who said that Donald Trump he's calling him a fascist. I got him from a day before the election. He's calling him a fascist.
Yeah.
He's a horrible fascist, and MAGA it's unbelievable.
Congrats on being less sincere than The View.
Oh, I wish I would have put that in. Oh, maybe I can still do that. Sometimes it doesn't let me edit my posts. Anyway, I'll just leave it. But yeah, that's what that is. Congrats on being less sincere than The View.
Like Joey Behar, say what you will. She committed to being stupid for the entire rest of her life. She's all in forever. Sunny Hostin refuses to learn things. By the way, Sunny Hostin is supposedly a prosecutor who dealt with child trafficking, and I find it very suspicious. Looking at the drivel that comes out of her dumb mouth. Like, I can see why we have a huge child trafficking problem if she was on top of that.
Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu.
Well, there you have it. Their take on Shank. And I think this is a conservative voice what he has to say about Anna, which I have something to add to that. So the name of this person is Matt Morse TV. Anyway, we'll go ahead and play that, and I'll give you my take on it. All right, let me do that.
In the wake of the Democrats' recent colossal loss, it would seem as if some of them are finally beginning to come to their senses. One such individual, Anna Kasparian of the progressive talk show The Young Turks, just had a complete and total meltdown at the mere notion that Kamala Harris might continue to be in a leading position on the left. Take a look at this.
I think Kamala Harris will probably win in a cakewalk for governor.
No!
Okay.
No! What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, I'm telling you the reality, whether you like it or not.
What are you doing?
Democratic voters in California love to obey. And so,
oh my God, I'm gonna move, Cenk. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna move.
I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I'm telling you what's like if the Democratic Party said, we anoint Kamala Harris, a giant percentage of Democrats in California would go, yes, we obey. We will take the loyalty oath. It doesn't matter how bad she is.
This state cannot survive another incompetent Democrat leading it.
Leading it. Democrat like Kamala.
No, we just can't. Okay, like.
So yeah, it would seem as if Kamala Harris is a little bit divisive amongst those on the left. So let's try to.
Well, let me say something. Kamala Harris is not on the left. I want to make that clear.
Break all of this down. The host on the left, Cenk, is regrettably completely and totally right when he says that tons of California Democrats would just blindly go along with Kamala Harris's gubernatorial campaign because, well, that's what Democrats nationwide did when Kamala Harris replaced Joe Biden. Kamala Harris wasn't elected. She didn't pass through a Democratic primary. She was anointed by the Democrat elite, and the Democrat voters weren't ever given an option, but they all pretty much accepted it anyway, in what was, very ironically, the complete and total opposite of democracy. And now when Anna says that California can't handle yet another incompetent Democrat leader, she's also 100% right. If you take a look at California and the degree to which it has deteriorated and rotted away under Democrat control, it's not only absolutely depressing, but also an omen of what is to come if Democrats ever get complete control of the country. They've taken one of the most beautiful states in the nation, maybe the most beautiful state in the nation, and just destroyed it with terrible policy after terrible policy.
What terrible policy after terrible policy? The same kind of terrible policies the Republicans have? Because what are you trying to say about Democrats in California? Because the Democrats in California and Democrats nationally are not that different from what Republicans have to offer. So you don't think that there are red states that are total shitholes? You know, I don't see people trying to move into Kentucky. I do not see people trying to move into to Alabama or places like that in the deep South. You know? And people go and talk about using Florida as a model where it has one of the highest housing prices in the country. And it's becoming more and more and more authoritarian, depending on who you talk to. But if you're a hard right-leaning Republican, you think authoritarianism is freedom, you know, because it goes after your ideological opponents. And I'm not one of those that want to go after my ideological opponents just to own the other side. I am a leftist. I want even for right-wingers, diehard right-wingers, I want them to have a living wage job and good health care and generous vacation time and retirement and all that, and retirement at an earlier age, just like I want my fellow leftists to have it. I want it for everybody. And that's what makes me better than them. But the thing is, this whole canard that Democrats or blue states are third world like conditions. Are you kidding me? And you know, fuck this red state, blue state nonsense. Why can't we have some green states? You know, because the Democrats and Republicans are pretty much the uniparty. So I get irritated with this partisan game of red states and blue states. It's fucking retarded. Anyway.
And so, you know what? Although I think there's a lot that we all disagree with these two on, it's still kind of nice to see them maybe, just maybe, begin to come to their senses, even if it's just a little bit. But hey, I want to know what you guys have to say, so please drop a comment down below. Please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe. That helps a ton, and it means a lot. Thank you guys very much for watching, and as always, stay safe.
And I'm not a cancel culture person. I'm not. You know, I believe that there should be room for diversity on thought on the left on a host of issues. And maybe there's a problem. There is a problem. Maybe some factions of the left do have a little bit of an intolerance problem at times. And it's only because we have a conscience and we have a heart. It's not because, you know, we're pearl clutchers and all of that. It's that we have a heart. And so, but sometimes our heart takes over a little bit, you know, occupies our critical thinking skills and all. So, you know, and that's just something we need to work on as the left. But don't let it ever be construed that the conservatives and the right-wing people are all open-minded. And therefore, everybody expressing their freedom of speech and diversity of political opinion, because it's not that's not true. Look what they have done to college students on the campus. They're cheerleading the police cracking down on college students on these campuses and suspending them and having people fired from their jobs and all of that sort of thing. The cancel culture thing, the things they claim to be against. And so, again, you know, I want to beat these people at their own game. I don't believe in making it like Jimmy Dore said. I don't want to sit there and demonize my neighbor that may have a different point of view, but it's an ideology and everything. I don't want to go and break bread with Matt Walsh or Charlie Kirk or Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck or Ann Coulter. Fuck those people. But yeah, the blue collar union guy who's either a Democrat that voted for Obama twice that fell for the Trump slogans. I'm not sitting there insulting the person that such persons. You know, people sit there and they'll listen to TV ads or whatever, and they'll be like, "Whoa, they got a point there," or whatever. I mean, I'm not faulting those people. I'm not faulting the Republican who's a Republican that votes for the Republicans that maybe you can reach them with some of our ideas. Then maybe, you know, that they have their own reasons that they may vote Republican. Maybe it's just something traditional in their family. It's something that's generational, whatever. I mean, there's that. But at the same time, you know, I don't like what Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygurt's doing, because this is what Dave Rubin did between 2016 and 2019 or something like that, where he will have Dinesh D'Souza and Shapiro and Steven Crowder and people like that on the show and saying, "Oh, I'm on the left, but you're correct about everything." Fuck those people. Fuck those people. Because they would never give an inch. They would never give an inch. If they never give an inch, why should you if you're on the left? And our ideas are better. Our ideas are better. Why should we give an inch? So if there's something you happen to happenstance agree with these people on by accident, you know, let's say where Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul agreed that selling arms to Saudi Arabia sucks because it was contributing to a genocide in Yemen. Hey, that's fine. But what the Democrats are doing these days, and some media people are doing these days, running to kiss the ring of Donald Trump. You kidding me? Now, I know somebody got on me about using the term Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe I use it too much. I never really suffered from Trump derangement syndrome. I don't suffer from it now. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit there and kiss the ring of Donald Trump. And we're going to go and have what passed for left opposition go back to the fucking year 1985, 86, 87, 88, 89, when it was the Reagan-Bush era, where everything was hunky-dory with the Republicans as the Republicans turned the Democrats into doormats, and the left was totally non-existent. And, and I feel like that's where we're headed back to. So I want to fight and I want to win. And I think at this point, I don't have a problem with divorcing Anna and Shank from the left as a result. So just saying. I'm going to log off real quick here. New schedule time right now, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting effective next week. There won't be a live stream tomorrow, Friday. And that's going to be the new schedule. I got a header on my Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube that has the present time listed. I'm going to change soon. So there's that. I'm trying to think of anything else. I can't think of it at the moment because I'm pressed for time. As I say, as usual. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment any ways you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. So muckrake away. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As I said before, subscribe to the Willy Bragg Show. Help me get up to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting there. And reject corporate media. They have nothing to offer. Free and pardon fully Ed Snowden. Pardon Julian Assange. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all. And for the sake of our activism to keep it alive. Free speech protection for all. Thank you. Good night. And I will see y'all again soon. Have a great weekend.